You're listening to the Purdy Girl Podcast. I'm your host, Ashley Kelly Purdy. My mission is to connect military spouses, fiancés, girlfriends, and booty calls worldwide. So let's do this. Hi, everyone. Happy Monday. Welcome back to Purdy Girl Podcast. This is Ashley Kelly Purdy. I hope you guys are having a good Monday. Hope y'all had a really good weekend. We didn't do anything. We are so lame. No, my husband worked most of the weekend. So I stayed in and I started that show called You on Netflix. Okay, here's the thing. I loved it. However, it's infuriating that he continues doing, going around murdering people and he never gets caught. Like, he would totally get caught. Can we all just be clear on that? I don't know if you've ever watched Dexter, but he's no Dexter, okay? Dexter was methodical. He was meticulous. He was strategic. And this guy, he's just sloppy. So, that's just kind of annoying to me. So, obviously, I have a lot of feelings about this because that's all I did all weekend was I watched You. So, I just kept seeing everybody talk about it. I'm like, okay, I got to see what all the fuss is about. So if you haven't watched it, I would watch it, but just don't get your hopes up that it's like Dexter because Dexter is a million times better. Anyway, that being said, I wanted to talk about a few podcasts that I loved this last week. So I like to mix it up with the podcast world. I like to have some that I listen to that they talk about the current events. I like some educational. I like some motivational. So I do kind of like a medley, if you will, of the podcasts that I listen to. So the current events that I've been listening to, podcasts that I have been liking what they're covering is The Daily. So they are talking all about the Harvey Weinstein case. I think there's 2 episodes that they released last weekend. Very good, very interesting. I will be following that trial pretty closely just because, I don't know, it's intriguing to me if I'm being honest. So that was really good. I also, for educational, of course, Dave Ramsey, always giving me money tips, money advice, and really just racks my brain to figure out what goals I want to be working on with my husband in order to grow wealth, baby. That's the dream, right? So I love listening to his because they just cover a whole gamut of topics and information. So the last one that I would suggest to you guys that I really loved, it gave me a lot of inspiration and motivation, was Lori Harder's podcast. And the episode is called Make 2020 Your Breakthrough Year, I believe. And I listened to this while I was on a run, so I get extra downloads when I'm working out and I'm sweating and I listen to a podcast like this. So I love Lori Harder, but I don't think she's necessarily for everyone, especially this podcast, because she actually walks you through a mindfulness meditation, like a visualization. And I really liked it. I'm about that life. I love that kind of thing. It really helps me to have clarity, especially right now when there are so many things that are unclear for me. So that was a really good podcast for me to listen to. And I would suggest it to you if you're feeling like you're in somewhat of a rut right now, or if you feel like you just need some motivation for the next step in your life. And you're like, I know I need something, but I don't know exactly what it is that I need. I would listen to that podcast. I really liked it. As far as books that I'm loving so far this week, I think I talked about it last week. I'm reading 2 books right now. One is The Daily Stoic and the other is Grit. So Grit is our book club book, which, by the way, we finalized our book club meetup. It's going to be January 26th at 1 p.m. And if you're not a part of the Facebook group, you should let me know and I'll get you in there because that's where all the information is. And if you're in the Destin area, I would love for you to come. It's just going to be at my place in the clubhouse. So we'll have lots of snacks, maybe some wine. I won't be drinking. I'll just be smelling. It'll be a grand old time. So Grit, I'm loving so far. My husband and I took the test this morning on how gritty you are. And I think I got something like I'm 60% grittier than the average American. I thought it would be higher, if I'm going to be honest. I'm like, oh, okay. I guess that's cool. My husband he's 70% grittier than the average American. So, pretty cool. Wondering what you guys all got. With the Daily Stoic, I really like this book. I explained last time that it has kind of like a meditation for each day of the year. So I wanted to read a little part of the meditation from today. So it says, "There is clarity in simplicity. While everyone else is running around with a list of responsibilities a mile long, things they're not actually responsible for, you've got just that one item list. You've got just one thing to manage. Your choices, your will, your mind. So mind it." So obviously it's all about mindset. It's all about keeping things into perspective, what matters, what doesn't matter. And I'm all about that because I can't tell you how many times I have been lost in the things that just don't matter. And one story comes to mind where I was about to step on stage for my 5th fitness competition. So this was at the Emerald Cup, which is one of the biggest fitness competitions in Washington. Actually, people were traveling from all over the world for this fitness competition, definitely from all over America. And it was huge, definitely the biggest fitness competition I've ever done. And this was fitness competition number 5. I felt ready. I felt like I was definitely the leanest I've ever been, which matters. Even though now looking back, I'm like, dang, that's probably a little unhealthy if you ask me. I mean, girls are just losing their periods and just getting like extremely, extremely thin. I don't know. I wouldn't recommend it anymore. But hi, lesson learned over here. I did 5, so that's that. But I was about to step on stage. And at this point, I had given so much of my time, my energy, my money, everything was going towards these fitness competitions. Everything. I barely even had time to nurture the relationship that I had with my husband. And thankfully, he's so low maintenance. Like, I know a lot of relationships don't survive these like crazy intense fitness competitions, honestly. And we talk about that. Like, all of my energy was going towards my workouts and my diet that like he would come home from work and be like, "Do you want to go do this? Or do you want to go explore this?" And I'd be like, "No." All the time I would say no. Like, I don't have the energy for that. I want to go to bed. And anyway, it just was not a balanced lifestyle. And I can see that now, hindsight 2020. And anyhow, I was about to step on stage and I was kind of doing my ritual, my routine, kind of just on my own by myself. And I was meditating and I was kind of praying, just saying like, I've given my all to this. I have done the very best that I can. Like, I really hope that, there's just so much out of your control. You don't know if the judges are going to like your package or dislike your package. It's so subjective and it's such a mind, FUCK, like none other. And so I was just kind of praying, just being like, I hope that, my hard work is recognized and, just getting ready to go on stage. And literally right before I was to step on stage, I just got this huge, overwhelming feeling of none of this matters. Like, none of this matters. You placing first, second, third, 50th, whatever you get, like that does not matter. This will not change the trajectory of your life in a year, in 10 years. Like, this doesn't matter. You're putting so much time, effort, money, heart, tears, everything that you've got into this hobby and it doesn't matter. And that was a really different feeling than I had ever had before any of my other fitness competitions. And I was like, deep down, I knew it was true, but I just wanted something. I wanted something in return for all of the work that I did with these fitness competitions. And I never, ever got it. It's like I was giving all I had with nothing in return. And that competition, I placed dead last. And I was done. I was like, I'm not doing this to myself anymore. I felt like a masochist. I was hurting myself. I was draining myself. And for what? For some kind of recognition, for chasing a trophy, for some kind of validation. It was definitely, it got to be an obsessive behavior, an obsessive hobby, if you will. And I knew I needed to take a step back in that moment. And I will never forget that right before stepping on, just that whoosh feeling of like, this doesn't matter. And of course, I didn't want to hear that at the time, but I'm so glad that that happened. I don't know if I would have quit. I don't know if I would have stopped doing the competitions if I had placed top 5. I don't know. But knowing that I worked as hard as I did and getting dead last place, I was like, and I'm out. I'm done. I could be putting my effort towards anything else and it actually matters. You know, it's such a selfish hobby. It really is. You're just focused on you and you alone. And some people don't want to hear that, but it is. It totally is. And I'm grateful that that happened. I'm so over that lifestyle. I learned a ton and I'm grateful for it, but it's like, time to move on. So I'm reminded of that every time I read these meditations from the Daily Stoic of just kind of examining my life and what I'm doing currently and just taking account of the things that I'm doing that actually matter and what am I putting my energy towards and my focus towards. Does it matter? Is it going to help others? Is it going to help me in the future? Am I worried more about that instant gratification or am I actually preparing for the future? So I'm really into it. If you guys are interested, I highly recommend it. If any of this is like resonating with you, it's a really good way to check in with yourself on the daily. If you've learned one thing about me, just, from following me on Instagram or listening to these podcasts, you'll just know I really like learning about mindset. I mean, my mindset is important, obviously, but like even the people around me, I make sure that we have like a similar growth mindset. It's important to me. And I feel like it makes a huge difference on any aspect of my life that I want to change or if I want to, make better. It all starts with your mindset. That's what it's all about when it comes to getting out of debt, fitness, health, personal growth. It all stems from a positive and realistic mindset. So why not work on that and really examine what it is that you're thinking day to day to day and your habits around that, If you don't control your mind, you won't control your actions and you won't control your life. Quote by Ashley Kelly. So I challenge you to take a good look at that today. And if you need more help around mindset and just really honing in on the things that you're telling yourself every day and figuring out if the things that you're thinking are helping you or hurting you, I would suggest getting this book or other books like it. Feed your brain with positive, and not just like foo-foo positive. I mean like actual realistic thoughts that will actually help you grow and progress in your life. So with that, I'm going to get on with my Monday. I hope you guys have the best week and I will see you on Wednesday. Thank you for listening to Purdy Girl Podcast. If you have a second, please rate and review and share this podcast with somebody you think would love it. See you next week.